Last time we were discussing how the error detection happens in signals. What we did is we add the additional bit and we use a special name for that we call parity bit. අපි එක bit එකක් add කරා, we call it parity bit. And there are two parities. When you add everything together, if you need an even number, we call even parity. So what happens is you get a set of digits, and then you, to make this number an even number, we decide the parity bit. This is same thing. So in this particular case, when you add up this one, it's 2, meaning even. So parity bit will be 0. So you add extra bit to the number of bits. So when you say odd parity, again, for the set of bits, to make it an odd number, so you are going to decide whether to add a 1 or not. So in this particular case, you have 2, it's an even number. So to make it odd, you add 1 here. So which means, encoded data will be like this. So when you're transmitting data from one point to another point, you can think about this parity checks. When you receive the string, when you send it, you add the parity. When you received it, you will check the parity one. Now, for example, in this case, so when you receive this one, and when you're given whether it's even or odd, you check this, and when you add it up, it's even, so which means there's no error. So then when you expect the even parity, and when here we have odd number, we know that there's an error. And when we have an odd number we are expecting and we are getting an even number, we know that will be an error. So later on, actually, you can also learn how you may correct this. For the time being, we will discuss parity checks could be used to identify in errors. Then we discuss public switching telephone network, a usual wired communication network, and usually your wired telephone line connects to what we call the distributed point, and then distributed point goes to the main distribution frame center, and then it will connect to exchange. So in the exchange, it will decide where to forward your call. Now, when you work with this, we want to calculate, especially when we use telephone lines, we want to convert digital signals to analog signals. Now we know that in telephone lines, the signals are analog signal we will transfer, and analog signals are the ones we can transmit a long distances. That's what we have discussed earlier. So which means we have to convert computer signals, that is digitals, into analog. So this is called modulation. And when you receive it, the analog signals we want to convert to digital signals, we call it demodulation. The two terms together, we will have the model, right? Then as a next one, we were discussing network topologies, a topic which we have already discussed earlier as well. The idea here is we will look at physical layout of networks, right? So if you connect all the computers in a network into a one main wire, so this is the main wire with some terminators in the ends, right? So then this is called bus topology. So you should know, when you compare another topology, what advantages or disadvantages you might have. So in this particular case, we will see that the length of the wires is smaller compared to the other topologies, and construction is also easy. But only disadvantage is if there's a failure in the main cable, the whole network fails, right? So you should know the issues of this. The next one is a star topology, which is very common one nowadays. Most of the time, if you go to a computer lab or inline or local area network, most of the local area networks, are created in star topology. So what is star topology? That means all the computers in your network connect to one central computer or a network device, right? So what is central is, it could be a computer, it could be a hub, it could be a switch, it could be even a router. So nowadays, when you want to take internet, we will have a router at home, and you can connect all your devices, computers, your mobile phones to that router, which creates the star topology, right? Again, if you talk about the advantages, yes, it's very easy, and it's easy to identify and correct any errors. But the disadvantage is you need a lot of wires, because every device you have to connect into the central, computer or network device, which means you need a lot of wires. The cost will be really, really high. Right. Then the next one, uh, okay, so we have discussed only these two, right? Right. So let's move on to the next one. So we have been discussing number 6. Let's quickly go to the main one, the topologies. Under this one, we need to discuss a couple of things. One is we want to discuss star topology, ring topology, and then a mesh topology. And also we have to discuss other network devices. So have you taken down this? පුතාලා මේක ලියාගත්තද? Okay, අපි ලියාගත්තනේ. Right, let's draw the figure as well. Let me insert the figure. Give me a second. Okay? Right, let's copy this. We are going to talk about the ring topology. Let's draw this. Computers connected to each other. That means computers are normally connected to each other, right? So, and it forms a ring. And then the advantages and disadvantages we want to discuss. We need to discuss advantages and disadvantages. For advantages, I will write one more thing. Messages are passed through through, messages are passed through all the devices clockwise or counterclockwise. The meaning of this is it will send messages from, let's say this is A to B, B to C to D, and back to A. But it happens in one direction, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, clockwise or anti-clockwise. Yes, Nimesh and Shashmi, can you tell me like what are the advantages, right? What are the advantages? Yes, what kind of advantages you might think compared to the others? Yes, Pata? What do you think? What are the advantages you think? Now remember earlier what we said. Now, for example, bus topology, it will depend on the main wire. Ring topology, yes, it's easy to connect. Now this is ring. Yes, Shashmi, what do you think? Any advantages? Now I told you the data pass in one direction, right? Either clockwise or counterclockwise, right? So we can say, since it's clockwise, no collisions. What do you mean by the collision? Now, if you take bus network here, the data can be any direction. It can go here, here, and packets can, collide each other, right? මේවා එක එකට හැප්පෙන්න පුළුවන්. They can collide, meaning like they might destroy the messages, right? Depends, right? But since now in here, in the ring topology, all the messages are passed in one direction, right? Um, Not the band, one direction. So messages, let me put advantage. Messages are messages flow in one direction, and therefore collision are minimal, right? The messages flows in one direction and collisions are minimal. So at least no collisions most of the case. High data transfer rate. High data transfer rate because it goes from one computer to the other. So it's quite fast, right? Then number of the length, if we discuss the length of, right, the length of wires is smaller, right? Like in bus topology compared to star topology. So the length of wires are smaller compared to star topology. So these are the advantages. Then there are disadvantages as well. Now, one of the disadvantages is, right? Yes, what are the disadvantages? Now tell me, bus topology, the network fails. What is the condition in bus topology when the network fails? Nimesha, what is the crucial part in the network in the um, bus topology? Yes, Nimesha. The network fails when, yes, let me කපුතේ කියන උත්තරේ අපේ බස් ටොපොලොජි ගත්තාම network එක fail වෙන්නේ මොන වුණොත්ද? නිමාෂා, come on. When one computer fails here, because it goes in one direction, right? When a computer in the network fails, the whole network fails. Whole network fails. Right? So that we can say it's one of the main disadvantages. So that's about ring topology, or we will also call, right, loop topology. Right, last one. Let's write down mesh topology. Yes, mesh topology. Right? Let's write down mesh topology. So what is mesh topology then? Right? What is mesh topology? Computers are connected to each other, right? Not like in early cases, right? Right. Let's write down mesh topology is a network which each computer is computer is interconnected with one another, right? It connects almost all possible ways. Right? It connects almost all possible ways. All possible ways. Let me show you. So if you want to draw mesh topology, it looks like this. So ring topology we discuss, it goes on like this throughout all this, but in mesh means all possible combinations. Right? In mesh, we can think about all possible combinations. Right. Any advantages? What do you think? If the computers are connected to each other like this, right? Every computer connects to the every other computer, isn't it? Now let's say this is A and this is B, this is C. But let me write. Let's say this is computer A, this is computer B, this is computer C, this is computer D. So meaning of mesh topology means computer A connects to computer B, computer A connects to computer C, computer A connects to computer D. So which means all the computers in the network connect with all the other computers in the network, right? For example, if you take B, B connects to A, B connects to D, B connects to C. That is we call mesh topology. Now let's take down some advantages. So what are the advantages, right? Why do you have to connect all devices together? So there should be a reason for this, isn't it? There should be a reason why computers have connect, right? Each of these other devices, right? First of all, when you have data, you can send data to any other device directly because there's a connection from one computer to all the other computers in the network. And then the other one is when you have connected each other, the connection is like can be used to transfer their data, right? So it will be very fast. So high speed data transmission actually uses mesh topology. So that's are the advantages. So let's take down the advantages first. Let me put advantages, right? So advantages when one computer fails in the network, other system will not be affected. one of the most important element, because if all the other cases when one computer faces or one computer fails, it will not affect the system. Okay, so that's one of the the advantages. So we can say a second one, it's recommended high speed data transmission. Right. So those are some of the advantages. Okay, what are the disadvantages? What are the disadvantages? Yes, Nimesha, what will be the problem? What do you think about the number of wires you need? Is it too high or too low? Yes. What are the disadvantages? We can
High
say,
cost,
Magadpute,
high cost,
oh, high cost. High cost kid. High cost due to, yes, high cost due to what? Yes, due to the large number of cables to set up the network, isn't it? Hammer device yakma anik hammer device yakma connect karna kya? So it will be a lot of wires. So it will be high cost is one of the disadvantages. Okay, another one, Shashmi, right? So,
time consuming,
Magadpute?
time consuming,
Yes, it time comes in. You can say the network is complex, right? Right. The network is time consuming due to complex nature, because you have to connect all the devices together, right? So it's time consuming. Good. So with that one, we have basically discussed what are the different topologies we need to discuss. We discuss bus topology, star topology, ring topology, and mesh topology. Right. Now, since we talk about a lot of network devices, before we stop, I would like to discuss two more. The terms that we have used here, that is switches and hubs. Right. So they are network devices, right? So hubs and switches mainly we are used to connect devices together, right? We use this to connect devices together.